La 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 la. I love Gossip Girl. Hello, Beth. This semester I'm taking social psychology, and it's a very interesting class. We're learning all about how people's behaviors can be affected by social situations and settings, and what is the mediator to people's actions, basically. Today I want to talk about one theory in particular of social psychology, which is self-handicapping. And it's something that we all do whether or not we realize we do it. It's kind of one of those subconscious things that we do in an effort to protect our self-esteem. Self-handicapping, and I will quote this from a piece of paper and not try to memorize it, is when we create an excuse for failure, but that excuse ends up causing us to fail. Self-handicapping most likely happens when you think your self-esteem will suffer if you fail. An example of self-handicapping would be, let's say you have a huge exam for your accounting class. Now, I don't take accounting, but if I did, it would be a challenging class for me because I'm not very good with numbers. So let's say I have an accounting exam and it's this big thing, and I'm not doing very well in the class, and I have to get a 95 on the final to get a B in the class. Okay, so the night before, I'm studying for a few hours, and then 10 p.m. hits. And instead of going on to the next chapter or studying how I'm supposed to, I take out a coloring book and color like 10 pages in the coloring book. And my roommate's staring at me like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you coloring? And then so then by the time you finish doing all this coloring, it's 1 a.m. and you're like, oh boy, my exam is at 8 a.m. I need to go to sleep so I can get good night's rest for my exam. And then you go to your exam the next morning, you take the exam, and you get your grade back, and you only get like a 7. And then when someone asks you, oh, how did you do on the exam? You say, oh, I got a 70, but you know what? Like, it wasn't because I didn't study, because I did. It was because I spent all that time coloring in those coloring pages. So it's really not my fault. I probably would have been able to do better if I'd studied more. Now, if you're a college student, something like this has bound to have happened to you in your college career whenever you encroached some type of deadline, whether it be to hand in a paper, to study, to do some reading, anytime you had to do something for class. You probably, at least once in your life, had this type of procrastinating behavior. The difference between procrastination and self-handicapping is self-handicapping happens more in people who have a lower self-esteem. The reason why we self-handicap is because we don't feel like we're going to do good. And if we study so hard, and we study so much, and then we still take the exam and do poorly, that's a hard hit to our self-esteem, and that's an internal reason as to why we didn't do well, because we are not good at the subject. And then your self-esteem is lowered because even though you studied, you still did bad, so that means you're not good. When we self-handicap and you don't prepare as well as you should because you're coloring or you're doing something completely irrelevant to what you need to be doing right before a deadline, you're creating an external cause for your failure. That way, when you don't do well, you can blame it on something else, and it's kind of like a self-mechanism to protect our self-esteem, which is a very interesting subconscious thing to do. The problem is self-handicapping really inhibits people who have low self-esteems, because most of the time, if you self-handicap, you will fail, and you will do worse than you would have done if you had prepared how you should have. I actually wanted to show you guys an example of my self-handicapping. I don't know if you guys have seen the most popular girls in school videos on YouTube. The other day I was supposed to be doing some reading for my class tomorrow, but instead of doing reading, I decided, what can I do right now? I'm gonna redecorate the entire suite with pictures from most popular girls in school. So that is what I did. That is it for today, Beth. I hope you learned something new about yourself and your habits and your subconscious mind with self-handicapping. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. As always, don't forget to be awesome.